All right, today is Monday, September 16th, 2024. We do have a quorum present, so we'll call this meeting to order. And we're going to have the TMHS students stand with us, and if they'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
Somebody.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you all so much. Paul Arriaga is going to read our board mission statement.
Through high expectations and equitable opportunity, TMISD will focus on the whole child by providing a safe environment and high-quality curriculum with diverse and enriching experiences.
Thank you, Paul. The next item on the agenda is public comment, which is the time for members of the audience to address the Board of Trustees. Before we begin, I will remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comments. Each public comment speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board, except that non-English speakers will be allowed a maximum of 6 minutes to address the board. Please keep your comments or criticisms civil and courteous, avoid using profanity, and refrain from making personal attacks on others during your opportunity to speak. Yelling, inappropriate, uncivil, or discriminatory comments will not be permitted. Lastly, we ask that you not discuss students who are not your own child. I also caution you that your public comments should not complain about individual school employees by name or position, or other than your own child, identify students. As presiding officer, I am obligated to determine whether a person addressing the board has attempted to administratively resolve any complaints or grievances about which they want to address the board that involve district officers or employees. In the event your comment constitutes a complaint or charge against an employee or officer, it may be necessary for me to interrupt and ask you to stop and direct you to proceed with the school district's formal grievance procedures or to have the item heard in executive session, depending on the nature of the complaint. Any concerns or complaints regarding individual district employees, students, or parents must be resolved via the district's grievance process, which can be found online and include policies DGBA, FNG, and GF. Thank you, and our first speaker is Cindy Ibanez.
Hello.
You can stay right there.
Thank you. I'm going to put on my shooters because this old lady needs glasses. It's going to be very quick and short. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank our board members and our faculty and everyone that's here. Thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to speak on behalf of Mr. Van Mitry. I have been a member of this Tolosa Midway community since 1992. We ended up moving my son when he was in 5th grade, give or take, a few years ago, and recently just came back to our community. Mr. Van Mitry was extremely supportive. He had an open door policy for us and made us immediately feel like we were at home. He made our transition smooth because it was starting to be very stressful. It was becoming a bit of a challenge to get Landon to come over here to come back home. Landon's goal was to come back and graduate with his fellow classmates and carry that family tradition since my son and my 2 other daughters all graduated from Tolosa Midway. We have seen several different types of superintendents in school districts, and let me say that we are all honored to have him at every event and very supportive. On behalf of my son, I would like to say his comments because there's a baseball game going on right now and he's unable to make it. But he said, being here at the Tolosa Midway, a few days going in, it was very stressful for me. It was hard to to get settled back in with tons of rumors going on why I came back home. I was feeling like I was starting to get bullied at one point or another and was trying to make a decision if I wanted to continue my sports. Mr. Van Metre took a time to meet with me to sit down and visit. He made me feel welcomed and supported me and made my decision of coming back home easy. I know we're not supposed to mention any other names that are not my children, but they are a part of my family. We do have Isabella Garcia, who is a varsity volleyball player and is a tremendous asset to our community. And I would like to read her comments on her behalf since she's at practice. Thank you, board members, for renewing Mr. Van Metre's agreement and contract again for another year. I'd like to say thank you for the tremendous leadership, for your love and the care for not only my sports and my decision to play for Toloso Midway, but for the care and the love and the support that you give to our future, for our school, our community, and other students that come to Toloso Midway. I also have my granddaughter, Lexi Vega, who is a cheerleader at the Toloso Midway High School, who is also involved in the American Heart and has been a huge asset to our community. She would like to say, Mr. Van Metre, thank you for the huge impact that you have in myself, our students, and this community. You have united us as one tribe. I would like to say thank you for always making me smile when you see me at my events, and thank you for participating in all other events, not just in football, but in volleyball or other events that are held here in our district. There is one of the many reasons why I choose to say thank you is because your kindness, your support, and leadership has been very grateful. I have been very grateful for the opportunity of knowing you. Thank you for everything that you do for myself and for all of us here at the high school. He is a huge asset, and I would like to say thank you.
I do want to remind y'all to please don't use names of any other students, even if they are family members, because that is in our policy. So just a reminder. Our next speaker tonight is Adeline Ruth.
Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Adeline Ruth, and I'm a junior at TMHS. I would like to express my sincere gratitude for the decision to roll over our superintendent's contract. Our superintendent has consistently demonstrated exceptional leadership and dedication to our school community. From his tireless efforts to support every student, faculty, and administrators to the establishment of the new Superintendent Advisory Board, on which I'm honored to serve, his commitment to addressing real issues and involving students in decision-making is truly commendable. Knowing that our superintendent will continue to guide us through to my graduation day and beyond is incredibly reassuring. Your decision underscores the importance of strong, stable leaderships in our school. Thank you for making this decision and supporting our superintendent. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Adeline. Our next speaker tonight is Jaslyn Lerma.
Good evening, board members. My name is Jaslyn Lerma. I am a senior at Toloso Midway and currently enrolled in the cosmetology program. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude toward those of you who voted to extend our superintendent's contract for an additional of 2 years. Mr. Van Metre has a huge support to all the TMISD. He has given myself and fellow students a new state-of-the-art building to learn all different trades that we can build a future with. Personally, I am pursuing a career in the cosmetology industry with plans to open my own hair salon in the near future. The resources and opportunity provided under Mr. Van Metre's leadership has been instrumental in my education and future aspirations. Thank you for recognizing his significant contributions and for extending his contract. Your support is greatly appreciated by students like myself who have been positively impacted by his dedication. Thank you.
Jaslyn. Our next speaker is Jalen Trent.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Jalen Trent, a senior at Toloso Midway. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to the board for renewing Mr. Van Meetre's contract for an additional 2 years. His dedication and support have made a significant impact on all students at TMISD, and it's crucial that Mr. Van Meetre knows his efforts are truly appreciated. Thank you for acknowledging his invaluable contributions and for ensuring his continued leadership. He truly is a great superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you, Jalen. Our next speaker is Badette Getta.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Badette and I'm a senior at Tuloso Midway High School. I want to express my sincere gratitude to the board for rolling over our superintendent's contract to 2026. Mr. Van Meetre has been instrumental in supporting all students at TMISD. His dedication is evident not only with our faculties, but also with the growth of our dual enrollment program. Thanks to his efforts, we now have partnership with multiple colleges, including TMUC. This wasn't an opportunity available to my older siblings, so I'm very grateful that I can have this opportunity. Thank you for recognizing Mr. Van Meetre's valuable contributions and rolling over his contract to 2026. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Francisco Campos.
Hi, how are you? I speak in both languages, can I get
Absolutely.
6 minutes? All right, sounds good. I don't know how to face everybody, but anyways. Buenas tardes, damas y caballeros, me llamo Francisco Campos. Mis hijos son Isabela y Noah Campos y están en el programa bilingüe de Tuloso Midway que acabamos de empezar el año pasado. Para Isabela es su segundo año en el programa bilingüe, para Noah es su primer año. Y quiero platicarles por qué yo pienso que el programa es algo muy importante para el distrito y por qué lo tenemos que seguir dando aquí. La primera parte es pues, algo de historia sobre mí. Yo nací en México, mis papás son de México, toda mi familia es de México. Nos vinimos cuando yo estaba muy chico. Y pues como todo niño que se viene de México, en las primeras clases que dan en la escuela pues son las clases de ESL, donde separan a los niños que no saben inglés para poder enseñarles inglés para que puedan seguir avanzando en sus clases. La razón muy grande porque el programa bilingüe les ayuda a esos niños más es que en vez de separarlos y hacerlos sentir más afuera de lo que ya están, afuera de su país normal, afuera, lejos de su familia, los involucran con otros niños que son parte de la comunidad, que ellos ya saben inglés, y pues teniendo amiguitos y amiguitas que saben inglés y que quieren aprender español, quieren hablar con ellos, pues les da como confianza para querer aprender más, ¿verdad? Tanto como los niños que no saben español, que están ahí para poder aprender un segundo idioma, pues a ellos también les da más confianza que tienen amigos y amigas que ellos también quieren aprender inglés, ¿verdad? Entonces ellos empiezan a platicar juntos, empiezan a hacer amistades que a lo mejor no se hubieran hecho de antes. Y pues teniendo los dos idiomas, yo puedo ser testigo de que te da mucho beneficio en tu carrera, en la vida. Varios de mis trabajos en mi carrera he tenido oportunidades donde yo la verdad no pienso que se me hubieran dado si no tuviera los dos idiomas. Y sé eso porque no se lo dieron a las otras personas que no sabían los dos idiomas. Entonces, pues es muy importante que nuestros niños tengan la oportunidad de no solo tener un idioma, pero dos idiomas. Segunda cosa, el programa bilingüe también es considerado tipo como un programa GT, ¿verdad? Y pues les da materia un poquito más avanzada, les da oportunidad de poder aprender más cosas, los reta a aprender más que en clases normales comparado a las otras clases normales. Y tercera cosa, para mí es muy importante la cultura y claro que estoy completamente orgulloso de donde estoy ahora en Estados Unidos y en la comunidad donde estoy, pero es muy importante todavía tener la cultura de donde viniste, ¿verdad? Y aunque a lo mejor esos niños no nacieron en México y no tienen tanta de la cultura hispana o en cualquier otro país hispano, les da la oportunidad de que ellos aprendan más de su cultura, y los niños que no tienen cultura hispana, que no son niños hispanos, pues, los ayuda a poder aprender también de otras culturas y avanzar más en sus conocimientos. So now I'm going to do it all again in English. So, how's it going, everybody? My name is Francisco Campos. My daughter and son are Isabela and Noah Campos. They're in the bilingual program here at TM, which we started 2 years ago. Right? My daughter, it's her second year. My son, it's his first year. And I want to talk to you all about why I think it's very important that we have this program at the school and why I think it's been a success. Right, so one, right, a little bit of history about me. I was born in Mexico. My parents are from Mexico. All my family's from Mexico. We came over when I was very little. And just like any kid who comes from a non-English speaking country, you get stuck in an ESL class, right, and you have to learn English in order to advance in your studies. Well, that can make a kid feel all more out of place than what they already are, right? They've left their home country, they've left their family, and it's not as inviting compared to if you stick them in a class with a bunch of kids who are already English speaking and are also there and want to learn the new language as well. So now they have friends who want to learn Spanish, and then the English speaking kids have friends who want to learn English, so you create friendships that maybe might have not have been created otherwise, right? Also, having two languages is extremely beneficial, as most of y'all know, in the workplace and life. In many of my jobs in my career, there have been times where I've been afforded opportunities that others haven't, just because I knew a second language and I was able to speak the language. Something I forgot to mention in my Spanish portion, but I'll mention it here, right? With our world as connected as it is, not just because you work for a US-based company in the US does that mean that everybody you talk to on a day-to-day basis is English speaking, right? So Spanish is the fourth most spoken language in the world, so obviously knowing Spanish brings you a huge advantage and it opens up your avenue of communication to many other people that you wouldn't have had otherwise, right? So second reason, right, is the dual language program is considered somewhat of a GT program as well. Right, the kids get a little bit more advanced materials and it's more challenging on their mind for them to have to learn this other language and on top of just the normal things that maybe the normal curriculum wouldn't have given the child. And then the third reason, for me, it's very important to continue recognizing your culture, right? And even though I'm obviously very proud of where I am today and was able to be afforded the opportunity to come to the United States, I think it's very important to remember where you came from. And I'm out of time? Okay.
You can go ahead and finish real
Okay.
quick. Just know that you're at time. Just go ahead and.
I'm very proud to be here in the United States, right? But I think it's very important to continue to remember your culture and where you came from, right? So for kids that don't have a Hispanic culture, it's an opportunity for them to learn about other cultures, right? For kids that do have that Hispanic culture, it's an opportunity to be reminded of it, to learn about it, and you know, especially when they have grandparents or parents that maybe don't speak English very well, they can have that communication instead of that communication breaking down and families, you know, not being as close as they would be. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. Our next speaker is Damian Figueroa.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees. I'm Damian Figueroa, a junior at Tolosa Midway. On behalf of myself and the football team, I just want to say a huge thank you for your 4-1 vote to extend our superintendent's contract to 2026, my graduation year. As an athlete, I've seen how much Mr. Van Matry has done for us. Thanks to his efforts, we've got a new scoreboard, new turf, and an amazing coaching staff. These upgrades really improved our games and brought more of the community out to support us. It's clear that Mr. Van Matry's dedication has made a big difference. I'd like to invite you all to come watch our game this Friday. It'd be great to show how your support has helped us. Thanks again for backing us and investing in our future. Go Warriors.
Thank you all for being here. We always like it when our students come and talk to us. our adults, but we really like our students.
I had it on vibrate.
It's all good.
It's an alarm.
It's an alarm to pick her up. So sorry.
All right. Moving on to our discussion/action items. Number 1, discuss and consider approval of the construction manager at risk for CTE building and natatorium renovations.
Madam President, members of the board, this is a big night for Tuloso Midway ISD and the Tuloso Midway community. We will be making a recommendation for you to approve the construction manager at risk delivery method for the construction of our new Career and Technology Education Center, as well as for the renovation of the natatorium. And then subsequently, you're going to get a look at where we're at from an architectural perspective, the new facility. It's just a really, really significant evening for Tuloso Midway ISD. And these moves will serve multiple generations of Warriors and Cherokees. Having said that, I'll turn it over to our Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Hernandez.
Madam President, board members, good evening. Having with us from VLK, we have Krista Thomas and Lily Solici. I lost her last name. I apologize for that. I'll be giving the presentation, and if you have any further questions, they're available to ask. Starting on July 17th is when we issued out the package to go out to bid for the CTE building construction and their renovation program. On August the 6th, we had a pre-proposal meeting here in the boardroom, and actually we attended the high school, and we allowed the proposal or the prospective contractors to view this site and ask any questions that they would have through email. Then finally, on August the 27th, we received qualifications and bid proposals from 3 companies. It was Fulton Construction, Spa Glass, and Teal. I'm going to go over the evaluation process. In the bid packet, it said we would evaluate based on 4 items. It was project-related experience, key project personnel, performance, and of course, cost. As you're looking at that, it was pretty close in all the areas. If you looked at project-related experience, they've all got great experience. It's just that Fulton Construction has done more projects of this size and nature than the other 2 companies. So they kind of edged out there. And the key personnel, again, their project managers pretty much tied in experience. The super's experience was tied. The actual manager's experience, because they've done some bigger projects, they've got more of the managers with more experience in this size. And then in performance, it was pretty much a level playing field. You just look at one company had some suits and claims against it, and they got knocked off a point there. And then finally, you get to the actual price, and that's the other tab sheet. And you just see where they come in at. The numbers that we're looking at is the pre-construction services. The only one that was a little bit questionable was Spa Glass. That seems a little bit low for their pre-construction services. The other 2 were in the normal ballpark. And then you look at their percentage for their general conditions, their CM fee, and that's how they get ranked in order. And again, Fulton Construction was the leader in that. So when you add up all the points on the tab sheet, Fulton Construction was the company to do that was awarded this project, or we're recommending to award this project to. Any questions? Again, it's pretty straightforward. It's off the what was the proposal that was sent out, and it ranked in criteria, and the numbers just crunched in. Any questions?
It definitely helps to have this beforehand, before the meeting, so that we can see how everybody was ranked and how everything worked. And then when you get up and tell us about it, you can go a little bit more specifically like you did tonight. So that helps a lot. Are there any questions or comments? Any good? All right. Do we have a recommendation?
I do. First off, I'd like to thank Fulton for bidding on the contract. Your reputation speaks for itself, Corpus Christi firm. And I know our board likes to keep our business local, so thank you. It is our recommendation that Tolosa Midway ISD authorize a contract for construction manager at risk for the construction of the Career Technical Education Center and the natatorium renovations to Fulton Construction Company for a pre-construction service fee of $55,000, a general conditions fee of 3.43%, and a contract manager's fee of 4%.
Do I have a
I'll make that motion. I was just, you can go ahead, I was gonna read it again. Okay? Yeah, I make the recommendation that Tolosa Midway ISD authorize a contract for construction manager at risk for the construction of the CET Center and the mandatory renovations to Fulton Construction for a pre-construction service fee of $55,000, a general conditions fee of 3.43%, and a contract manager fee of 4%.
We have a motion made by Paul Mostella. Do we have a second? We have a second made by Ben. All those in favor? None opposed. Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations. Moving on to number
Look forward
2.
to working with you.
Same here. Appreciate it.
Report on the bond 2023 CTE building update.
Madam President, members of the board, I'm excited to show you, and we have some students here as well as staff, where we're at with the design of the Career and Technical Education Center. This is a game changer for TM. And some of you, I sent out the email, and some of you got to open it, some of you didn't. We will be showing this Thursday at the State of the District luncheon, so the whole Corpus Christi community, and I've got a bunch of superintendent friends that are going to be extremely jealous of this. But the Corpus Christi, the Tolosa Midway community decided a year ago to make an investment in their children. And now it's paying off. And we can't do this without a supportive board and a very supportive community. Mr. Hernandez?
At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Thomas. She's the lead designer on the project here in Lily.
Madam President, Board of Trustees, first, just want to say thank you for having us and having the opportunity to design this beautiful campus for you. I think it's clear with your students here that there's some exciting things happening here in Tolosa Midway, and we're excited to be a part of it. So today, what we have, again, is just going to be a design update, a snippet of what we've been working on over the last few months. Again, this is more of a schematic design, so there's still a lot of development, a lot of meetings, and a lot of conversations to be had, but we are excited with where we're at today.
So Krista, before you show this, watching the meetings that you've had with faculty and staff, I've never seen the degree of collaboration in any project that I've done is what you guys have had with our staff. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, and actually I was about to get to our first part, just to recap on, we find very important at VLK to come in and we get stakeholders, we get community members, we get teachers, we get your students, whoever really you allow us to talk to. We want to talk to them and understand what it is that fits this community. Y'all are the ones that live it and breathe it every day, and we recognize that. And so for us to give you the best product, we want to have those open conversations with you. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but we always get to that end product. We don't always know on day one exactly what the needs are, but through questions and analyzing the design, we can start to manipulate the project. And even today, like I said, we're at a certain point in design, but still there's so many conversations to be had to keep making sure that the product that we're pushing out is going to be the perfect product for Tolosa Midway. So if you remember a few months ago, we actually had our VLK launch process. So I just have a couple of images here just to remind us of that process. So when we did VLK launch, this is when we came in and we presented some of these what we call typology boards that are on the bottom there. We ask your community to tell us what they liked, what they didn't like, what they wanted to see more of. So from those boards. I know you can't see it here, but there's a lot of sticky notes and a lot of comments. Some comments say, I really don't like this. And other comments say, I love this. Let's do more of this. There were some comments on there talking about natural elements. There's things on there talking about how do we get this grand piece to fit in Tolosa Midway. For one example, I don't know if you can see it on there, there's a big airplane in a project that we did up in North Texas, and it's trying to figure out that airplane fit that community. They were a community of farmers, and so there was a crop plane that was donated by a local group there. And so here is finding out what fits Tolosa Midway and how do we adapt that into the design. So we got a lot of great comments there, everything from, again, the interior of the building and to the exterior of the building. There was a lot of conversation at the groups, again, with your different community members, your teachers, and your students. Some of your teachers even had sketches available for me, and I still have those sitting on my desk, and they said exactly how they wanted their room. There was dimensions on it. It was great. So we try to take those ideas and put them into this campus. Of course, some things have changed, as we start looking at the scale and stuff, and really what the needs are. But again, it all started with that launch process. So today, we want to show you where this building's ending up. So if you see in the front there, in the darker gray area, that is the CTE building addition. So in the lighter gray at the top, that's going to be your existing high school. And so what we're doing with this addition is actually pulling the front facade of your building forward. What this also allows us to do is give you a new front entry, new security vestibule at the front of Tolosa Midway High School. And so what you're really able to do here, I know y'all did built the PAC a few years ago, and so you have that new facade there. Now we're kind of finishing off that facade. You'll see with our animation and schematic rendering is we're taking some of those typology elements to really bring in a little bit of that modern flair, but also trying to keep the same feel of the rest of the campus. So again, the arrow towards the bottom would be your new entryway, and then the arrow towards the top, that would now be solely your PAC entry, so into the auditorium space, so separating those two now. Looking at the floor plan here, from the red arrow, if you follow me, we have the campus main entry. So you'd come into that orange space, which would be now your new security vestibule. As you come in through that space, you'll have 3 layers of security there, which will then lead you into what we're calling the multi-use exhibition space. So this space is going to be a really great space for you to highlight your students' work. You can utilize it for after-hour events, maybe a team banquet, or maybe you're just trying to show off some different pieces you can set up out there on different tables for your students to experience. A lot of what we heard with this CTE Center is that we wanted to be able to get the students excited when they came into Tolosa Midway about y'all's Warpath Academy and what great things y'all have to offer here at Tolosa Midway. So as you circulate through this campus, you'll start to be approached by floral design. You'll be able to see into the floral cooler, which you'll see in the animation. So that's going to get excited to see the student work that you have displayed there. You'll be able to see your new vet tech program at grooming. What's nice here is now you're not having to bring the animals that are being dropped off all the way through campus. It's much closer to the front of the school, so hopefully it's safer not only to your students and faculty, but to those pets as well. Across that exhibition space is what we have our patient care lab. We also have your dental science lab, and just above that is graphic design and the TMTD studio. So a really nice production studio in there. Coming back down into exhibition space and in the corridor there, you'll be approached by your game design. So game design, I feel like some of us kind of curious of what game design is. Well, game design is really starting to pick up in a lot of communities with esports and the different actually building video games. So giving them a lab that you're able to do that and prepare for some of those competitions, I think is going to be a great asset for your community. You also have your more health science labs and classrooms down there on the pink. Just across the way in green, we have a nice large and robust welding lab and classroom. Some of the miscellaneous spaces in there include locker rooms and changing facilities for your boys and girls. as well as storage and an office for those teachers. And red is going to be our instrumentation and electrical lab. So again, nice large space that responds to the needs of your community and being able to prepare those students for the workplace right out of school. On the second floor, oh, and let me just go back. You can faintly see those two red dashed arrows. That is where we lead into your existing campus. So you'll have direct connection from your new building addition directly through and into that new or your existing campus. On the second floor are the rest of our programs where you'll see as you circulate to that second floor, you're going to be approached by criminal justice and the classroom. So we have a multi-purpose criminal justice lab there. We also have forensics lab in the classroom just across the way, again, those yellow blocks. In that light green, you're going to be our architecture and engineering and robotics lab. So really, these spaces are interchangeable. One thing you'll see in our animation, actually in that robotics lab, we have an arena space that allows your students to have the VEX arena or the Skills USA arena set up at all times. It doesn't take away from the academic space within the classroom. So it's a separate space that they can have their robots stored, have that VEX arena set up, and they can go in there and run their different drills and practice for their competitions. We do have some spaces indicated as welding lab below, for example, just because those are double volume spaces to get the openness of those labs. So looking here, this is just a conceptual image of what we're starting to look at when we're looking at the front entry and that approach to Tolosa Midway. So one thing we want to be prominent here, you'll see further on the right-hand side is going to be that existing PAC entry, and you can see how this new front entry will sit proud of that. And so you'll have a really noticeable front entry. Again, we're going to move some of that branding over. We have the nice big TM off on the academic wing back there. But then you'll also see us using some clear story windows to bring in some natural light into that exhibition space.
I have a question. Yes. Is the ramp for wheelchairs or handicap is still going to be way over here? They have to go all the way up and back this way? Or is this a ramp here?
So we have a ramp. Let me see the cursor. I'll point on the screen here. So you'll have your main steps here, and then we have the ramp coming right here. So your approach is still the same. We can look at also having it jog and come in, so we can wrap it if we want that entry to be a little bit closer. But right now we just have it straight. It's behind this wall here. So it's just protected by that wall.
But there is one closer.
Yes. Oh, yes. And then that's where we're still studying the site, and we got the survey in, so we're trying to figure out the grading and all that to get that really nailed down for you all. So next is what I have is a animation. So again, this animation is going to get you a little bit of a better peek of what this campus can look like. I will preface it by saying we still have interior meetings to go through, so we started to add some things to really make this animation pop, but there's a lot of conversations to be had on exactly where paint's going, where different accents are going, and so we'll continue that development and give you another update soon.
We're going to have a lot of signage up, right? Like signage up, because we have people that come and just want to strictly going to be coming straight to the PAC Center for activities there. They won't even be coming into our school because.
And we talked about a lot about having a meeting to discuss the site post and panel signage of, you know, where do we want visitors to go? Where do you want your staff to go? Where do you want students to go? And so we can have a really integrated meeting where we sit down and we're really drawing arrows on a plan, you know, where are we going? Where is it going on the site? And help us in that direction, because I know that was a concern that was brought up also in our meetings.
But even if they go to the PAC Center during the day, they have to go in through the main entrance, don't they?
Mm-hmm. It depends on if we're isolating. Let's say we're hosting one act play, and there's tons of kids and parents. They're going to go through the PAC and stay there because it's going to be secured. If you're going to an evening basketball game or volleyball game, you're going to go through the PAC.
I just know a lot of people don't know where to go when they get to our school, so signage would
So
be,
we'll help however we can with that wayfinding package on the exterior and even on the interior if we need to help them get them around to the admin suite or whatever it is.
Even with signage, it's gonna take a ton of conditioning.
Yes.
Because people have been, you've had that since, well, the PAC, what, 11, 12 years? Anyway, so.
Yeah.
So where you have the walkway around with the 3 poles, how far is that drop? I mean, I know we're just conceptual, right, but you're talking 3 foot, 4 foot, I mean.
There's about a 3-foot drop. There's actually, if you look at where your parking is sitting in relation where the high school level is, there's a 7-foot difference.
Right.
So what we're doing is make sure that the second floor aligns to make the best use of the structure. And then on the first level, we are making changes on the grade to make sure that we are minimizing the amounts of ramps that are in the building.
We're also gonna minimize safety hazards of kids falling off that
rails
or
railing.
stare it out all the way around, I don't know, but
Yeah.
we just gotta be careful, okay?
Absolutely.
Y'all are thinking that,
For
okay?
sure, yep, and we'll look at that and also just trying to look at the landscaping out there and, there's a lot of elements to put into this to really make this front entry pop for you all and of course make it safe.
I think someone else,
Yes, I see those slots in front of the stairs. Are those parking spaces?
Yes, right now that's showing as parking there.
Let me ask you another question. Traffic control, the drop off and pickup area. How is this design going to affect the traffic that is going to? It gets really congested. Is that going to affect? Is the traffic going to affect any of your design there, where you have parking slots, especially at the entrance?
I can speak to that. We are taking 16 current parking spots. As we understand, there is plenty of parking on the stadium side that can be utilized. But in terms of parking, we are kind of minimizing the impact that it has on the site. The flow of traffic will be similar to what it is now, but we'll rework the side elements to make sure that there is a very clear delineation of where things start and where we come in, where we get out, and where we drop off people. Because as I understand right now, you're having a lot of influx all at one point. So that is something that also going to help. One thing that it's going to change with the new CT edition is the welding program. They will have their separate welding yard so that deliveries are taken to the back of the CT center and are not clogging up the front of the school.
well, I know right now where our students walk up right in front of the building, it is open. There is no parking allowed right there. Because I would hate for a student to walk out from behind a car.
Right, yes, and we
And
will
not see them.
continue to look at that, and then, if we need to open up some space, so you have almost like an inlet where you can drop off and pull over, we can look at the rearrangement of those parking, and look at the striping of that. Even sometimes directional arrows go a long way sometimes, just with trying to figure out that traffic flow pattern.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. So next I have the animation for you. So there is some sound with it. Hopefully it's not too loud, but we'll else I failed to mention was also with this program, we are renovating your existing auditorium. So you got a sneak peek of what that's going to look like then too.
So the auditorium will have seating on both sides? That's what that shows?
We have prepared a package as an alternate that will get priced individually to know what that is going to cost, to be able to create the most amount of seating possible for the district. Those will be conversations Fulton will be involved in now that you've designated it as the CM.
That's what we want to do, is have seating.
That's what we need.
Yes.
Will the swimming pool still, the area itself, still be the same? Because when we have competition there, it gets pretty crowded, like we said, where there is not enough seating. So is the size of the pool still going to be, the area still going to be the same?
The area will still be the same, but if the alternate one goes in, that would extend the actual footprint where you have spectator seating. We're also adding tilt and roll bleachers to make sure that where you have your parents sitting in, there's enough seatage. The natatorium will be conditioned, and that will also help a lot in terms of the experience the users will have while being in there.
And so just quickly, what is figured into these numbers that were provided by Fulton Construction?
So these
You're
are-
saying it's an option, but so what?
So these are just their general costs, their percentage of their fees. So the next step is VLK will get with Fulton, start providing them the diagrams, the drawings. Fulton Construction will get with their subcontractors and start estimating the cost for all this. And they'll come up with the guaranteed price for the build, or the cost of the construction. And if it all matches and everything, then we'll proceed on from there. If we don't have enough money, then that's where you start value engineering, and we have to give and take. So that's why the seating for the natatorium is currently where the windows, where the doors that open, and you've got that little breezeway out there. We're hoping to extend the deck out to there if it's possible to afford it, and that will give us a capacity. Ideally, currently we have seating for around 300. We're looking to get seating for just over 500, because that's typically what we have in an event. So.
Yes, sir. And an alternate, what it means at this point is that we want to see it as a line item to make sure that the district can make the best decisions.
So just next steps. So we just went through design development. We're wrapping that up. What that really means is that we're going in, having those one-on-one conversations with your teachers, sometimes even with students. We've had students in the room, and figuring out, making sure that each wall has the correct components on it, that we're starting to look at where the space planning, all that is. So exactly what you saw today was based off of that design development. We're anticipating construction documents to be issued in January, and then construction, again, anticipated for March, and project completion in July of 2026.
Wow,
I know.
that's impressive.
I told you it's a big night tonight.
That's what we have for you tonight. Again, we're very excited and thankful for the opportunity, and we're excited to continue to show updates as we get more of them, and we come back to you with those all.
Let me ask, the natatorium will be at the same time? Or is that?
Some of it, but it's on a much more accelerated timeline.
Right now, we're anticipating to shut the natatorium in February of 2025, and then be complete with construction sometime in October 2025.
We wanted to start a little earlier, but in collaboration with Coach, this was the timeline that she felt worked best for her and her kids, so that's what we chose to go.
Next season, I'm
Yes.
assuming. I loved the walkthrough video. It's very exciting to see what our kids are going to have.
Yes, I wish I had a kid that would be taking advantage of that. Not anymore, they're all grown, but that is awesome. Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
animating it like that.
Great job.
Yeah, thank you. All right, and that was report only, no board action needed. Moving on to agenda item number 3, discuss and consider approval of the out-of-state field trip request for TMHS Speech, Drama, and Debate to attend the Harvard National Tournament in Boston in February 2025.
Mr. Alvarado?
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
So today we brought a couple of Yonics and an Alvarado here to talk to you about Harvard.
You brought some stars.
Yes. So if Annabelle, you want to kick things off, and then we'll go from there. Or Addie, one, two, I don't know.
Oh, sorry. Hello, school board members, and thank you for having us today. We are here on behalf of the Tuloso Midway speech team, and we're here tonight to ask for our trip to the National Harvard Tournament to be approved.
So starting with the trip details, this year Harvard will be February 14th through the 18th. This will be our third year attending. Personally, my third year attending. My freshman year, it was online due to COVID, unfortunately. We usually take our top 10 students on the team because this is a prestigious tournament. We can't take the whole team, so we do top 10, and we take 2 to 3 chaperones. Now, why should you let us go to Harvard? Well, first, obviously, as I just said, this is an extremely prestigious tournament, and we see competition that's not possible here in Texas. At our local tournaments like Ray, King, and Miller, we see like around 10 to 20 people in each event. But at Harvard, we see 300 to 200 people in each event. The competition is almost 3 times larger at this tournament, and that's important for a separate reason. The reason this is so important, and also why we're such a successful team, is because we go to tournaments like Harvard that prepares us for the state and national levels. We get to see people that we don't see until later in the season, like when state and nationals roll around. We get to see them earlier in the season and know how to prepare against them. This also kind of evens out the playing field for us because these schools go to more than just Harvard. They go to Berkeley, they go to Emory. But Harvard is kind of like our one chance to be on the same playing field as these other bigger schools. And that's exactly why we put up such a fight with them on the district, regional, and state and national levels, is because of tournaments like Harvard.
Overall, this tournament helps us with networking and competing in order for us to be able to compete in the national and state level. It is a huge deal for us, and overall, it helps us with networking, as I said, and it helps us with even scholarships.
The networking cannot be understated. Going to Harvard the past 2 years, I've met the Baylor debate coach. I've met people on the Harvard speech and debate team. I've met the current president of the National Speech and Debate Association. The networking cannot be understated, not only on a competitor level. We all personally know current and former national champions that we've met at tournaments like this. So it's on a student and more so an adult level as well, especially for Ms. Delavina. And so that's why we're here today to ask that you approve for the 3rd year in a row that we go to the National Speech and Debate Tournament held by Harvard. Thank you.
Great job, ladies.
Thank you.
So I just kind of want to add on to that because I just want to make sure everybody knows how talented our speech and debate program is. Our middle school kids at the middle school level cannot compete at middle school tournaments in our area. We have been asked to not ever return. So our middle school kids have to participate at the high school level with these young ladies. And these young ladies have been participating at the high school level for a while from middle school. And so their competition in the area does need to be out of the area because they are so talented and they do need to see their competition. So I think this is a great opportunity for y'all. And y'all do such an awesome job. And go show them exactly what we know how to do here at TM, right?
Thank you, Sandy.
Oh, and by the way, congratulations.
I'm sorry?
Congratulations on the whole superintendent contract thing.
Appreciate that.
Do y'all have any questions?
The only thing I was going to say is circling the approval on the signature. If you did it with one of them, not on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
But the signatures are there.
Otherwise, I will make,
Got it.
I'll make the motion to do this. I don't know, I've never done that.
Let me make the recommendation.
Yeah, the recommendation is.
Ladies, I think this is a pretty good chance this recommendation is going to be approved. Congratulations.
Hey, before you read it, I do have one more question. Do y'all do y'all do any fundraising, or does this just come out of y'all's pockets? It says here out-of-pocket student expense.
So we do we have the option to do individual fundraising if need be.
Okay.
So kind of a mix of both depending on availability.
Okay.
Okay. It is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the out-of-state field trip request for the Tolosa Midway High School speech, debate, drama, and debate to attend the Harvard National Tournament in Boston, Massachusetts in February 2025.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to do that.
Denise makes the motion of the administration's recommendation that the board approve the out-of-state field trip request for TMHS speech, drama, and debate to attend the Harvard National Tournament in Boston in February 2025. Do I have a second?
We all do.
Yeah, we all do.
Because y'all
Ben?
have,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, they've done an exceptional job the last 3 years. I mean, it's an absolute remarkable opportunity for each and every student that participates. And it's a fantastic thing that we can do this because our stars need to shine.
Plus, these are lifelong skills they'll take for their entire life to be successful.
Yep, that's the important thing. Y'all
Yeah.
are getting added value out of it, networking, huge.
Yes.
Huge, right? So that in itself is, so y'all keep doing it, and then the next group gets it, and they keep it going, so.
Yeah.
All right. We have a motion made by Denise and a second by Ben. All those in favor? None opposed. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Thanks.
Now come back and tell us about your trip. All right, moving on to agenda item number 4, to discuss and consider approval of the out-of-state field trip request for the TMHS International Studies Club to travel to Australia and New Zealand in June of 2026.
Mr. Alvarado?
Good evening. So I bring with you Mrs. Gray's. This is Mrs. Gray's typical trip. She does every year, going to a different country. This one's actually going to Australia. It is as they call it, the journey down under. There the students will have to go through guided tours through educational tours, EF. It's the program we typically use, or we've used forever. The next trip is Portugal, Spain. And now they're going to go to, they're asking permission to go to Australia for the next go-round. The students fund the entire thing, or their families fund the entire thing. And that's pretty much it. It's the same standard one they do every year.
It's a great opportunity for all of them, all the ones that are involved.
Absolutely, and approving them this early helps the parents be able to make those monthly payments to be able to afford.
That's true.
Harvard.
Are there any other questions or comments? Everybody good?
Madam President, members of the board, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the out-of-state field trip request for the Tolosa Midway High School International Studies Club to travel to Australia and New Zealand in June 2026.
I'll make that motion. It's a great opportunity.
All right, I have.
Just had to X out the adult stuff, man.
It's too bad the board can't go, right?
Yeah.
All right, I have a motion made by Paul. Do I have a second? Okay, everybody wants to go. I've got a second made by Leo. I have a motion made by Paul and a second by Leo of the administration's recommendation that the board approve the out-of-state field trip request for the TMHS International Studies Club to travel to Australia and New Zealand in June of 2026. All those in favor? None opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to agenda number 5. Discuss and consider approval of second reading of TASB Update 123 Local.
Dr. White?
Madam President, members of the board, this is the second opportunity that we're bringing TASB 123 Update to you all. If you can recall from last meeting, several local policies are being updated, of which one in particular had some questions regarding library materials and just whether or not we were being ready or prepared for the timeline for implementation. And just as we met and reviewed that with the media specialists last month, they did bring to my attention that because it is stalled currently in the legislature where there's an injunction against the vendors being able to provide the ratings for the books, therefore what we've done is we've put in place a reconsideration policy where we have forms, we have our procedures, and we kind of have a step-by-step guide for those that would like to either challenge through a formal process a library book or an informal process where they just want to inquire about a particular library book. So to kind of answer that question, we are ready, but knowing that currently there's an injunction against those vendors being able to provide those ratings, that's kind of currently the process and policy that we have in place.
Do we have a list of the books in our libraries?
The librarians do, yes.
Okay.
Are you asking specifically of any type of list or just a inventory?
Just a list of an inventory of the books in the library.
Yes, we maintain and house the inventory in Follett.
Okay.
One of our programs.
Any other questions on any of these second readings? I know we went over our first readings in the last meeting. Okay.
Madam President, members of the board, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the second reading of TASB Update 123 Local as presented.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion made by Ben. I have a second made by Paul. I have a motion made by Ben and a second by Paul for the administration's recommendation that the board approve the second reading of TASB Update 123 Local as presented. All those in favor? None opposed. Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to agenda item number 6, discuss and consider approval of second reading of TASB policy EHAC Local.
Moving away from TASB's recommended updates, we have one of two local policy updates being brought to you all by administration. This is policy EHAC. This is involving no middle school PE substitution for credit. And so we're just wanting to memorialize that in our procedures to align our processes 6 through 12 grade levels.
Any questions or comments on that? No? Okay.
Madam President, members of the board, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the second reading of TASB Update EHAC Local as presented.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion made by Paul for the administration's recommendation that the board approve the second reading of TASB Update EHAC Local as presented. Do I have a second? The second made by Leo. All those in favor? None opposed. Motion carries 7-0. Moving on to agenda item number 7, discuss and consider approval of second reading of TASB policy EIC Local.
And here is local policy recommendation update number 2. This one involves just the academic achievement and class ranking policy, and we were just wanting to clarify how we were moving forward with GPA and just wanting to delineate the tiers and just making sure that what we are doing as an unofficial process becomes part of the overall official process, which we have done here with EIC Local.
Any questions, comments?
I'm just glad I don't have to do that computation.
So can I ask a question, Dr. White? So the part that says duplicate courses, which are courses that a student repeats after having already earned credit, shall not be calculated into class rank calculation. What scenario would that fall under? I mean, why would a student retake a course?
Say if they failed it. Yeah, that'd be one of those repeats. So you can only get it on the original credit. So when they're taking it for credit recovery, that's what that policy is referring to.
So in all likelihood, this isn't in top 10,
Right. If you think about it from another vantage point, you could if you know you're going to not do as well in a particular course, like this semester course, you can kind of, just tail it off and tank, and then turn right around, take it again, perhaps maybe even on Apex or another learning platform, and get another opportunity to try to get that GPA point. So in order to avoid that, that's the reason for that rule there.
Any other questions?
I was only gonna say, it does refer to our new 9-week grading period, so if we ever go back to 6 weeks or that changes, this changes. Yeah. Could avoid that by just saying the second to last grading period. You don't have to change anything, FYI, but I'm good with it.
Great idea. Actually, I hadn't thought of that.
That's good.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Madam President, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the second reading of TASB Update EIC Local as presented.
Do I have a motion? A motion made by Ben. Do I have a second? Second made by Leo. It is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the second reading of TASB Update EIC Local as presented. All those in favor?
Sorry.
None opposed, motion carries 7-0. Moving on to agenda item number 8 is a report on goal number 2 for pre-kindergarten.
Madam President, members of the board, coming before you tonight is Strategic Plan Goal 2, which deals with pre-K and our ultimate goal. We're also going to discuss a comprehensive partnership with Community Action Corporation of South Texas that I believe, I've worked with them in multi-districts, will not only improve and expand our program, but also save us a significant amount of money. So having said that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Moody and Mr. Crabtree.
Okay, so we are very excited to be exploring this partnership with, or actually it's Head Start, but it's through a company called KCOS, which is Child Advocacy Center of South Texas. It's somebody that Mr. Van Maitre has partnered with before and been very successful. It is under the Head Start umbrella, but it's not the same Head Start company that we have previously worked with here in TMISD. So it's a different group of leadership that would be managing our implementation. So just a reminder of what goal number 2 was. 100% of 4-year-olds within the TMISD boundary and every eligible 3-year-old will have access and be enrolled to full-day pre-K by 2028. So this gets us a little bit closer to that end goal of 2028. Why do we want to do it? This is a lot of stuff happening here. KCOS it's a federal funded program, so they have a lot of criteria and a lot of support that we do not currently offer as wraparound services for our families of pre-K students. So the only qualifying opportunity for kids in Head Start is their economic status. So if they qualify economically, they get in, no questions asked, and they are then provided not just the campus support, but also there's an RN, there's a LVN, there's social services, there's family support services, and they all come to the campus to do those things with our families. So obviously an early academic foundation, the more we can teach them, the younger they are, the better they'll be throughout their academic career. The social emotional stability for some of these families isn't always what we'd always want, so we can provide that support too. They'll be school ready as they transition to kindergarten. Language development would start earlier. And then parent community benefits, they have an entire family support system that they operate through KCOS. Long term, there's a lot of research that says the earlier you start them, the higher they are correlated to entering college. And so that holds true in the Head Start.
Excuse me, is this just a district base that they can apply for? Or can we take transfers for this also?
We can take transfers.
And I just wanted to add one piece to this too, is in my experience of working with Head Starts and pre-Ks, even pre-K3s I've worked with before, last year even, one thing it does too, because we have a lot of young parents in pre-K. So it's teaching them the responsibilities of bringing their children to school on time. That is one of the biggest struggles we have with young parents is they think, oh, pre-K and kinder, that's optional, right? First grade, I have to do this. It's training our parents to get their kids to school on time, the importance of it, that communication aspect of it, different things like that. The second part of it is a lot of our young students, when we first get them, sometimes they don't show up till they're 5 years old, and they have underlying medical conditions that their parents really didn't push them through that system. So if we can get them at 3 years old and 4 years old, we're going to be Head Start on getting them into those special needs and getting them those services that they may need. Because sometimes it takes a year to a year and a half to get the right services. So the younger we can get them, the better we can get them started.
And Head Start will help with the identification of all of those services. They don't let you in if you haven't had an eye exam. They don't let you participate if you haven't had a well visit from a pediatrician. And if you can't afford the pediatrician, their RN will come and do it for you on the campus. So there's a lot of stipulations that are put in place to support the families growing in a healthy way.
Can you elaborate a little bit on the part that says that it aligns with the parent's work schedule? So supposing a parent doesn't get off work till 6, how long can you hold these kids? These are little kids.
That would be what we would discuss in our MOU. So they have, KCOS has the opportunity to extend the day for their staff, and they would keep the kids. We currently do not offer any TMPM services except for employee children. So, and even that's done sort of at an unofficial capacity. So they have the opportunity. We would just need to agree on that in our MOU. I should start by saying we are in the very infancy stages of the partnership. We've had 3 separate meetings. Crazy enough, our grenade launcher, as we like to affectionately refer to him.
I didn't know that.
That's not a negative, right?
No. But we can always see the pin coming. Like we see he's ready to launch one at us. We catch the grenades all the time. This is a really cool grenade. But the staff has already worked with Mr. Van Maitre. So as soon as I called her and I said, hey, listen, I work with Mr. Van Maitre at Tolosa Midway. She's like, okay, we can have you a class by October. I'm like, hold on. So they're already ready to go with us. So that's one of the things that we'll discuss in just a minute. We are a little heavy in our pre-K, not just a little, but that's a very polite way of saying we are over enrolled in pre-K right now. They are willing to work with us and have an initial class of Head Start students in October. And so that will alleviate the overcrowding in some of our other classes without having to fund an FTE right now for us, which would be the only other option is for us to hire another FTE. So they're willing to do that. They're also willing to give us 2 support staff members. So one will go into our dual language classroom, hopefully, and then the other one will stay in that classroom, that additional classroom that we create. And then they'll have a floater person that one of the stipulations with Head Start is no child is ever unescorted by a Head Start staff member. So if they go to the bathroom outside of the classroom, if they go to the nurse outside of the classroom, if they go to the office to drop off an attendance slip, there will be a floater pre-K Head Start personnel to take that without having that affect the current staff on the campus. But they'll be integrated seamlessly. Still eating in the cafeteria if that's what we want. If we don't want that, that's fine. They can eat in their classroom family style with the Head Start staff. Use the same curriculum, same assessments. They actually get additional assessments. And then they will open up those family services to anyone that we identify outside of that Head Start classroom. So some of our other pre-K students will already be getting that benefit as well, even though they wouldn't be necessarily identified in that Head Start classroom. But the after-hours thing, that's something that we need to decide on in our MOU, and we haven't written that yet.
So what is the difference between the Nueces County Head Start and this one? Are they compatible, or it's just something you feel more comfortable with this group?
Yeah, they follow the exact same federal requirements. The difference, I think, is maybe the leadership. I'm telling you, I called her, she was here the next day to meet with me. The next time she was here with a staff of 4. And then the very next time we were walking the campus to make sure that it meets the federal guidelines for fire requirements. We checked out our playground to make sure that it meets code. And they've already got the ball rolling to get all of our facilities up to federal code for their Head Start facility. So I think it's just the responsiveness maybe.
The wanting.
And I didn't work with.
It's nothing against Nueces County.
I didn't work with
Not
Nueces
at all.
County.
It's not a negative.
So I can't.
I've had a 15, 16-year relationship
Right.
with some of the same people over 4 different districts, and they deliver.
Mm-hmm.
They take care of the kids, and they provide those wraparound family services that we can't provide right now.
I have two-part question. Do you have a cap on how many students to take?
Their classroom, the cap is based on the size of the facility. So the current classroom that we're looking at for this initial in October starting, which by the way is like really wild, but we're gonna make it happen, is 17 because of the square footage of the classroom. They can have up to 20 if we were to use our other classrooms, but this particular classroom that's open is 17.
Is that PK3?
Pre-K 4, we're only talking about 4 right now.
So I'm sorry, but when we build the junior high and we turn the primary into a true early childhood center, we'll have plenty of room for eligible 3-year-olds and every 4-year-old. And that's really the magic dust for student performance, is getting all of them in, not just the ones who qualify as we do now.
That was going to be my next question about determining economically disadvantaged. Well, how do you what's the criteria for economically disadvantaged? Single parent, income based, what?
A lot of those factors do factor in, but it's essentially income based. If they qualify for TANF, SNAP, any government assistance, they automatically qualify for Head Start.
And it's also currently looking at the total income of the home plus how many bodies live in that home. So if grandma lives there and aunt lives there and they have a cousin who lives with them, all that counts. So it changes that ratio so that way they can become more qualified.
And I know y'all are in the beginning stages, but we have a lot of families that have children that age. Are y'all gonna have, y'all may not even be at this stage yet, but you can only admit so many kids. How are y'all gonna decide? Because it sounds like to me, we're not gonna be able to accept transfers. We probably have plenty of kids in the district.
For this year right now, we have enough students that were over-enrolled to fill that 17 easily. So that way we could just have an appropriate classroom setting. Now, when I say appropriate, I mean ratio-wise. Right now, our students are very well served. They have a teacher, they have a paraprofessional with them, and they're loved. And they're learning every single day. But so we can get it down to a true 2 adults to 22 students, we need that extra, that Head Start teacher in there and that staff to take those 17 out and give them a good experience. So that way we have less bodies. If you've ever went to a pre-K classroom, they're great kids, but they're like cats. They're everything. You know what I mean? And we got them trained by now, but there's a lot of little bodies in there.
Yes.
They need space.
So to Kim's point, do you have like a ranking system so we don't get into any trouble with who gets pulled in? And
It's based off of that, the socioeconomic, do they qualify? And then it's when did you apply?
Okay, so first come, first serve.
First come, first serve as they apply and they qualify.
Well, for this initial classroom, what we're doing is we're doing a study of all of the current students that we have. We're not adding additional students. So we have all of their economic status, all of their qualifications. And what we're doing is essentially looking at how many kids that would qualify for Head Start have already been moved twice in a classroom. We're not going to move those kids again. So we're doing that for this particular situation because it's a little bit different than what we'll do to launch a new school year with multiple Head Start classrooms.
When we have more room.
Right, when we have more space and more availability.
So right now, we have 96 pre-K students, and we need to find 17 that qualify, that have not been moved already. We don't want to disrupt that family again. That's really hard on a young family. So we're just going to focus on those 17 right now. And then in the future, it's has they qualify, and then we just keep that list and we keep that going. Because to be honest with you, right now, we have students checking in every day, which is a great thing. But we just don't want a student coming in who's monolingual and cannot, it's only speaking Spanish and have 25 kids inside that bilingual classroom, that 7 of them speak very fluent English. So it's like we'd have to move one kid out every other time. So we want to make a little pocket, a little space to have available for our new students checking in and ready to go.
And do we have in place if we have special need kids in these programs? We do have.
And that's still on the ISD. So we still will serve these students with every need that they come with. That's a responsibility that TEA gives us as a district. And so we will still maintain that with our current staff. And then moving forward, if we move more classes to Head Start, then traditional TMISD teacher-funded classrooms, then we'll still maintain those same support services. We currently provide services for students that don't come here for speech therapy or other things like that. So that's our responsibility that we will maintain no matter if it's KCOS taking some of our classrooms over or Head Start or Nueces County Head Start or whatever, we will still maintain all of those responsibilities.
We have a classroom called Early Childhood Special Education. You'll see ECSE. It used to be called PPCD.
Yeah.
And those are students who are severely special needs. And they pull them out or they go in and help them. So we're making sure all of our students have those services they need.
And the family wraparound services that Head Start provides will still apply to those students. Okay, so we kind of covered all of the rest of the presentation. We really just want to make sure that we're extending the reach that we have as an ISD to start getting kids in sooner and get them that academic acclimation quicker. And then we want to be able to provide that support and stability to some of our families. And KCOS really embeds themselves in the community. They'll go hold meetings at HEB for us. They will reach out to our community and make sure that our community is supported. It also supports the pre-K FE, the pre-K family engagement requirements for TEA on the other side of things. And so they'll support us with that as well. HQ, high quality pre-K family engagement. So we'll still have all of those benefits. And this is Community Action Corporation of South Texas. This is their partnership. This is what they're willing to do right now, which we've kind of already talked about. 1 full classroom, 2 support staff members, and then the family support that we mentioned earlier. And then they're also looking at our pre-K playground, helping us spruce that up and get up to code there with some shade protection and things like that, which Patrick has already explained to us needs to be windstorm safe. And so there's a whole lot of things that go there. So we may hold pre-K recess somewhere else inside something, but it'll also help us reduce our classroom sizes. Now, moving forward to the future, we will not be full pre-K for all for 4-year-olds until the new building is established. But we will consider moving more of our classes to Head Start classes next year, which would free up some FTEs, some full teachers, to serve in other grade levels, saving us some general fund
vacancies.
No one's going to lose their job
Right, no.
over the partnership.
But the 3-year-olds is until we
Right.
get a new.
Unless they have a
system.
disability.
Unless they have a disability, yeah. Correct. Because this is great. Kudos to you to bring this back, because my kid who has special needs was in the program at 3 years old when we had Head Start, PPCD, and he learned. That's why I attribute that he is so fluent with his finger spelling and stuff. I never forget Miss Greenwood. She was awesome with him. But it started at 3, 4, and then he went into the system, which was just awesome.
Yeah.
So great job, guys. That's.
And the surprise was the swiftness of the movement. We were anticipating having meetings concerning next year. And the need arose and they were willing to fill the need without us hiring another FTE. And so we are very thankful for those ladies that just jumped right in with us. And she said, as soon as you called me, Kenna, I knew what we needed to do. So she started scheduling meetings on her end. And so we've just been able to collaborate.
Correct, I'm sorry, I was going to interrupt you before you go to this, but correct me if I'm wrong. Our elementary school was down in students at the end of last year, and now y'all are telling us that we're at capacity again at the elementary school?
Well,
Or just at that grade level?
Well, two things. We reduced staff. We cut classrooms based on projected enrollment for this year. And we're right now, as of today, 50 kids above where we were this day last year, and that's money and additional kids coming. So his campus is growing, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
And this is going to help us, I think, better meet the needs of our babies and save us money. And when you can do that, that's, as Covey would say, that's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a great partnership.
So this timeline probably looks familiar because you've seen it for DLI, you've seen it for the graduate readiness profile. I'm a creature of habit. But basically we're outlining for the next 2 years where we're going to be and what we're going to be doing. All of it essentially is surrounding that KCOS partnership. So, and they're in it with us. They're ready to jump into. And then 25-26, for the 25-26 school year in May, we'll reevaluate that partnership and put an MOU in place for the following year. We'll spend those 6 weeks of summer making sure that their staff is hired with their qualifications and also with ours, because that's another, we have different standards, and so they have to meet the standards of both KCOS or Head Start and ours. So we'll work through that in the summer. And then we'll start getting prepared for Pre-K4 for all in the following school year. So we'll have 1 year with all of our classes, and then hopefully the building is up and going, and we'll be ready in 2 years to have Pre-K4 for all. Okay.
And I agree, that's really going to give our kids the tools that they need, right, before they get to kindergarten.
Well, and also, I am highly anticipating our COVID babies in a big boom.
Yeah.
There's a lot of babies born during COVID. I have one starting pre-K next year, and I'm telling you, there's a large number of the daycares are packed. So we have a strong feeling these kids are coming. We need to be ready for them. So
awesome. I like that y'all are looking into the future, right, Paul?
That's it. Great job. And somewhat unrelated, but you mentioned COVID babies. I'm going to make a recommendation to our intermediate principal that we have a 5th grade graduation this year, only one, because they didn't get to graduate in kindergarten.
Oh, I love that.
And so I think that'll go over well. What we have to communicate is this is a one-time deal because they're graduating in kindergarten, but we need to make it up for this cohort of kids.
Good idea. I like it. Okay.
Any other questions? Well, thank you.
Thank you, great job.
Thank you.
I don't know where.
As long as Kim has it, that's fine.
All right, moving on to number 9, agenda item number 9, discuss and consider approval of a resolution of nomination of a candidate for the Nueces County Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Madam President, members of the board, as you well know, each eligible taxing unit may nominate one person per directorship. So this is a time where you can nominate a trustee to be considered for the Nueces County Appraisal District Board of Directors. I think, Leo, are you on it right now?
I am, and I don't think it has to be a trustee, I think it can be anybody. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the rules have changed now.
Then I used to be, you can tell I'm ancient. So, this is your opportunity to do that.
So this is open for discussion.
Well, I nominate you again, if that's what it is.
Good job,
So-
Leo.
Well, so the change this year in what the letter said is, before it was each ISD, each organization got one person on the board, but now they're splitting it. So they're gonna put everyone who is nominated on a ballot, and then everyone's gonna vote, and then only top 5 get it.
It's
So-
essentially a general election
Yeah.
at large now, so.
So there's no relationship between your valuation, taxing valuation?
No. So if you see on the bottom of the taxing unit and the percentage total, Tolosa Midway doesn't get one full vote anymore.
It's on page 106
Oh,
in your
that's
board
where-
book, if you want to take a look
Yeah,
at it.
that's where it comes in.
And
Got
so
it.
when we were at the Coastal Bend Public Education Advocacy Network, where all the ISDs come together and like talk, everyone I don't know, there was some people there that were advocating, already like campaigning for their election.
They sent me that the day before.
So do we
So-
pick somebody or not?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we can nominate someone. We won't actually
Doesn't
do
mean-
the.
Doesn't mean they're on the board.
We won't be voting tonight. There'll be a ballot
No,
coming.
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
you can
nominate Leo.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay.
He's on.
Yeah.
You know, he does.
How long have you been on there, Leo?
I think maybe 8 years, but to Denise's point on these changes, the smaller entities are probably going to have a difficult time placing someone simply because you look at the percentages, see if
Right.
Corpus Christi and Corpus Christi ISD, they have a significant amount of the voting basically weight, and so.
Yeah, our weight is only
Yeah,
4.9%.
But even at that, last time, didn't some other school districts have the opportunity to vote for you also?
Yeah, it was a different,
Formula.
yeah, it was a different formula.
Yeah, they're doing it different this year.
Sometimes they campaign in different districts, entities.
All right.
It is the administration's recommendation that the board approve a resolution nominating Mr. Leo Gonzalez for the Nueces County Appraisal District Board of Directors.
Bring it on the computer. All right, so we'll go ahead and do we have a motion? I have a motion made by Ben and a second by Paul. For the administration's recommendation that the board approve a resolution nominating Leo Gonzalez for the Nueces County Appraisal District Board of Directors. A resolution of nominating a candidate for the Nueces County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Whereas on this 16th day of September 2024, the governing board of TMISD Board of Trustees met in open session to consider nominees for the Board of Directors of the Nueces County Appraisal District. And whereas a nomination is required by Section 6.0301 of the Texas Property Tax Code, and whereas the governing board of TMISD Board of Trustees has voted to make such nomination, now therefore be it resolved by the governing board of Tolosa Midway ISD Board of Trustees that Leo Gonzalez is nominated for an appointed place on the Nueces County Board of Directors for a term beginning January 1st, 2025. That this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage, and it so resolved. Duly resolved and adopted by the governing board of TMISD Board of Trustees this 16th day of September 2024. All those in favor? None opposed, motion carries 7-0. Thanks.
Congratulations, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and moving on to agenda item number 10, report only, Tolosa Midway State of the District Igniting the Spirit Luncheon.
Well, to say that we're excited about Thursday is an understatement. Ms. Aguiano, I'm disappointed you're not going to be able to make it, but we certainly understand. The one that really puts blood, sweat, and tears into this is Ms. Castillo. So I'm going to let her talk about what they're going to see on Thursday.
Okay, so yes,
Amazing job.
we are really, really excited about this year's State of the District. Just a reminder, it is on Thursday, September 19th. We will be sending out some information either late tonight or tomorrow morning, reminding everybody that this year's a little different. We're starting promptly at 11:15. In years past, we put that on there and people, dwindle in. But this time, Commissioner Mike Morath is literally flying in just for this event and flying immediately out. So after he's done with his speech, he has to be sent back. It caused a little movement in the agenda where we normally follow the same order and pattern, but this year with him flying in at a early time and having to leave immediately after, we did some moving. But everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be great. We have over 500 in attendance this year, which is almost maybe, I don't want to get my numbers wrong, but about 150 more than last year. So we're really excited about that. Students from all campuses will be there to represent. We have littles coming in from primary and intermediate who are going to be doing the Pledge of Allegiance. And we will really be highlighting middle school and high school, more so high school this year. Just to give you a little overview on the agenda, we have 2 students who will be emceeing the event this year. One of the suggestions we received, or feedback after last year's event was, we have these amazing speech and debate students who really could outshine some of our MCs. Why don't we not highlight them? And we thought about that because we always meet immediately after to discuss what we thought was great and what we could improve on. And the kids are really excited. We've chatted with them. Mr. Van Maitre is going to do a small rehearsal with them on Wednesday, and they are really excited about this. Dr. Zendejas from the Education Service Center will be the one introducing Commissioner Mike Morath. Of course, he is our keynote speaker, and he starts promptly right after the program starts. We have TM Education Foundation President Melinda Arriaga, who will be there on behalf of the Education Foundation, thanking everyone for being there and our sponsors, and more importantly, thanking our 2 $15,000 sponsors. We were able to get that this year. That was amazing. Of course, we have Superintendent. We're excited. But we have Superintendent Van Maitre giving the actual State of the District, and he will be highlighting the Lone Star Cup, which I'm excited to hear him speak on this because before this, I knew nothing about it. So I'm excited to see how he's going to give that in his State of the District. Of course, we will have our famous jazz band students and our TM mariachi students performing as well. So if you were at last year's event and it went really quickly and really fast and we packed a lot of stuff, this year it will be, if not even more packed with information. But we're really, really excited. Did everybody receive their tickets?
I was going to say, the tickets are in your emails if you have not looked.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, or Mr. Van Maitre, for putting the mariachi, since we are just in the start of the Hispanic Heritage Month.
Absolutely.
And that really gives a show to the
Yeah, they're going to be on the stage.
Hispanic community. Coming back from OSMA just Saturday, they showcased mariachis from Judson High School, and of course I was applauding them, but I was thinking our mariachis are just as good, if not better. So thank you for having the mariachis, because I really look forward to celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month this year at TM.
We also have a couple of special presentations we're going to give to the commissioner. One from our 2 MCs, kids, and then one from the mayor of Corpus Christi. So that'll be kind of neat.
Very exciting.
Great job.
Yeah.
Nice, yes.
As always.
Looking forward to it.
So that's a report only.
Okay. Moving on to discuss and consider approval of consent agenda informational items. Were there any questions on the check payment register? Any questions on the August 2024 financials?
I was just gonna ask, right now it says negative 10,000 on the encumbrance one. When did you say we're like mid-October to be balanced out?
Yeah, it's about a month and a half to clear out all the bills, everything that was encumbered. The bills are coming in now, we're paying them off. The expenses are still coming out of September, out of August, because the services or the goods were received in. So yeah, it's hopefully about a month and a half.
Okay.
And like I said at the top, that's just what I downloaded at the time. The numbers won't get finalized till the audit gets done. So this is very preliminary, not final.
But we'll continue to see both until it is?
I guess I could do that. I could just attach the August on there just so you can see what's changed. And you'll see the encumbrances go down. The expenditures may go up if there are expenditures. Yeah, I can do that.
That helps a lot.
Thank you.
Philip, I have a question. It's on page 14. You have done the JCA law. Is that Juan Cruz?
Yes.
Okay, why can't, and I see the amount. I still have a problem of not knowing, is that litigation? What is it that he charges us so much
It's
for?
for everything. It's for consulting. It's
A lot of it's bond work, I would imagine.
some of it's bond work. He's like helping us with the contracts for the bond, but it could be just we have a question and we call and ask a question and we get billed for 15 minutes because we.
So it's not like it's an itemized invoice. It's like it's a total of.
No, it's itemized.
It is very detailed. It's.
I see.
15 minutes discussing. It could be an HR issue. It could be it could be anything.
So everything legal is dumped into that one pot right there.
Are you talking about a budget or just talking about his bill?
Well, the bill that
The
Janie's
bill comes
asking
in,
about.
It's kind of segregated if it's HR related, if it's, for example, we had Juan Cruz's office come in and do some Title IX training, so, there's just all different kinds of stuff on there. I mean, and then we go through it, and then there's really only, there's the district budget for that, then if we use it for anything bond related, that comes out of the bond, and then if Ms. Riggs has some HR stuff, she's got a budget for her issues.
Does he have like a going rate, or does he charge?
Yes, every partner at the firm has a different hourly rate, and we're billed at whichever, well, I don't know if they're partners, but each employee that bills has a different billing rate. And so we're billed according to the rate of the employee that's assisting us.
I thought we had another firm that was doing bond work.
No.
It's Juan Cruz.
That's probably thinking about when it goes beyond that, people,
I mean, we
No,
have,
that's,
like, when we do we have an attorney that handles our bond sales.
okay, that's what
That doesn't have anything to do with what we're
day-to-day.
spending the money on. That's just handling the bond transaction and the refunds and the things that we've done with our bonds. That's bond counsel helping us with that transaction.
That's
Not
what I've
with-
seen that before.
Right, not with, and they work closely with Victor.
Victor,
But that's only bond, actual bond transactions.
I got
Yeah, you wouldn't see an invoice from them. They get their money at the closing.
Any other questions on the August financials?
Alice is pretty happy this month, Alice?
Oh, with the tenants?
Yeah, with,
Yeah, we made a big payment on the final.
but that's not, is that the final?
No, we still have retainage held back, because I don't think we've gone through all the punch list stuff, but I think it's everything except the retainage, which I think is 5% of the project is still being retained until we're clear on the punch list and everything's done.
All right, number 3, tax collection report. Number 4, enrollment report. And number 5, regular and special call board meeting minutes. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, we have a recommendation.
Madam President, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion. Ben, make the motion. Do I have a second? I have a second made by Paul. I have a motion made by Ben and a second by Paul for the administration's recommendation that the board approve the consent agenda items as presented. All those in favor? None opposed, motion carries 7-0. The next agenda item is closed session. The board will convene in closed meeting as authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act to discuss items allowed by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.071, .076, .082, .0821, .083, .084. The time is 7:45 p.m. and we are now in closed session unless the board needs a break. The pleasure of the board, do we need a break? Okay, it is 7:46 p.m. and we are now in closed session. It is September 16th, 2024. We have reconvened from closed session deliberation, and we do have some action that needs to take place.
Madam President, members of the board, it's a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees issue an educator probationary contract for the 24-25 school year as presented.
Do I have a motion? A motion made by Ben and a second by Paul. All those in favor? None opposed, motion carries 7-0. Our future meeting is October 20.
One more.
Oh, we have one. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Madam President, members of the board, it's the administration's recommendation that you authorize a letter of intent to negotiate for the acquisition of property for the location of the new junior high school campus and matters related thereto.
I have a motion made by Paul, a second made by Ben. All those in favor? None opposed, motion carries 7-0. Our next meeting is October 21st. It's Monday. We have a meeting on Monday for team building. What time does that meeting start?
I think we said 6.
Okay, 6 o'clock.
With Dr. Villarreal.
On Monday.
What date?
23rd.
I won't be here.
Is that gonna be here? Or it's Thursday?
No, they're coming here to make it easier on everybody. And then our regular scheduled board meeting will be October 21st, 2024 at 6 p.m. If there's no further business.
There's no further business.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, we already did.
And I have a second made by Paul.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Oh.
None opposed, motion carries 7-0. It is 8:27 on September 16th, 2024. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.